So hi everyone, my name is House Hutchison. I am very pleased to introduce you our guest this morning. Her name is Julie Boutet. She's a colleague at CSPS, Canada School of Public Service. Julie est une collègue de l'École de la fonction publique. J'ai cru bon de l'inviter parce que souvent en coaching, on a un aspect de prendre des notes suite à notre conversation de coaching. When you are living a coaching moment, a coaching conversation with a coach, there's an important aspect of taking notes. And this note taking might take a form of journaling, of piece of art, something that will create an anchor for yourself. Quelque chose à travers la prise de notes ou même la rédaction d'un journal personnel. Il y a quelque chose de très puissant et d'ancrant dans vos objectifs liés au coaching. Et ce matin, j'ai voulu inviter Julie Bellil-Boutet pour vous partager un de ses chapeaux. Je vais la laisser se présenter, mais une de ses expertises, c'est d'être une artiste. Et je suis curieuse de savoir en ligne who amongst the participants are artists or using art. Donc, please write something in the chat if you're using art, a different form of art, if it's painting, writing, if it's a drawing. So please, yes, we see some response there. Please share how you use art in your personal lives or professional lives. So art and coaching can really be matched. And there's a way to do this. And I'll just ask Julie to introduce yourself, and then we'll move on to how we can combine both medium, coaching and art. So Julie, who are you? Qui es-tu?
Bonjour tout le monde. Hi everyone. I'm really pleased to be here among you this morning. I'm working at CSPS since 2015. I'm part of the UX team, so user experience, and specifically working with accessibility. So responsible of accessibility in learning, how we can make any learning product being better and accessible to everyone. So this is my daily work, obviously. I'm here this morning because I love art. J'ai toujours dessiné, peinturé. Je vois le monde qui dit qui font du crochet, qui tricotent. C'est quelque chose aussi que j'ai commencé à essayer de faire, le crochet. Définitivement, c'est quelque chose, tout ce qui touche l'art m'aide à m'exprimer et à me recentrer sur moi-même et vivre le moment présent. Et souvent, c'est quelque chose pour moi, c'est une façon de m'évader. Donc, dans ma vie personnelle, c'est comme ça je l'utilise. Au travail, je l'utilise vraiment d'une autre façon. Et je crois que c'est un peu le but aujourd'hui d'en parler. Donc, in my work, I use art to help to explain different options, but also to explore and to find different options. I find when you use your creativity side, it's actually thinking outside of the box, and it's helping you sometimes to connect different options, but also to see what is the barrier, but also how you feel about it. And often enough, I find that like when you're in a situation, you could lean toward different options just because of your gut feeling, but you're not sure how to. So I think like using art, it's a great option to put it down, reflect about it, and to explore different options without even sometimes knowing about it.
Yes, and if you're like me and you never considered yourself as an artist, because I thought I was poorly drawing, I was never satisfied with the kind of drawing or painting or the choice of colors, I know, Julie, tu vas nous donner aujourd'hui des conseils pour qu'on soit plus confortable avec ce médium-là. C'est un médium aussi, it's a way also to communicate, to translate, to anchor ourselves, like I said, but also to put maybe a bit more color in your office space, I saw some comments, Julie, where people are enhancing, using art to enhance reports and presentation. So yes, it's a way for you to communicate through using art, but through using pictures even in your report. So there's a way you can integrate that in your workspace and also demonstrate maybe a bit more of who you are. I see mandala. I see people, some people dance. We won't be dancing this morning. Maybe another day. But I would love to hear how we can definitely use art, specifically in 2020. 2020 was hard for a lot of people. We were confined at home. We had to restructure our offices. I see that you've used a panel with, just a sheet, a blank sheet. So how can we make this accessible at home and easy if we're not artists and we don't have all the tools? Let's move on to how we can use this medium and also combine it with the coaching conversation that some of you will have. Go ahead.
So I want everyone to be open about it, and you don't need to be an artist. We all start somewhere. And like we see in the chat, there's different way to express through art, and it doesn't need to be necessarily on a piece of paper. That being said, for today, we'll use the paper medium, but you can use anything you have on hand. Like today, like what I have is like marker, dry eraser. I have like des crayons de cire, so crayons, like anything that you have could actually be in use. You could also use like newspaper, magazine, cutouts. You can just go on the web and open a Word document and pull tons of images from it. Use different colors, because the colors will help you to express yourself without sometimes even realizing it. Souvent, je me rends compte lorsque je file pas bien, mes peintures vont être sombres, sombres, sombres. Puis c'est la journée d'après, lorsque je le regarde, je vais faire « Ah ouais, peut-être cette journée-là, ça marchait pas. » Tu sais? Donc, les couleurs sont super importantes. Aussi, tout ce qui est les médiums, plus que vous allez les essayer, plus que vous allez figurer qu'est-ce que vous aimez, qu'est-ce qui colle à vous. Puis dans le contexte où on prend des notes, on ne demande pas à quelqu'un d'être un artiste puis de faire des dessins élaborés. It could be just shapes, doodles, a triangle, a heart, a stars, but that's the way you're going to express yourself. So using tons of colors, and please don't use the eraser. The eraser is the worst thing you can use in art, because you want to follow your progress. Ton cheminement va paraître au travers de tes notes, au travers de ton dessin.
That's so good. Never use the eraser. Use colors, and start with what you have. There's a link with the emotions. That's what I'm hearing. Can I just add something in the coaching conversation, Julie?
Yes.
I'm sorry I've interrupted you. In coaching, there's a lot of times where in the conversation with a coachee, the coach will draw an image or will do a bit of doodling, or will ask the participants or the coachee to doodle. And that's a way for people also to express what they want to say in words, but sometimes it's so difficult. So I know you will link it with the Grow model, but I wanted to throw that in. Je sais que les gens vont souvent avoir juste une image qui va capturer l'ensemble de la conversation de coaching. Et Julie va vous montrer une technique aujourd'hui pour capturer ces moments de coaching-là ou des résumés de rencontres difficiles ou etc. Donc, c'est une façon aussi de créer un rapport de votre état et d'un résumé qui est différent d'un rapport écrit qui va chercher, comme tu as dit, Julie, le cerveau droit. So, listening to you and how we can implement that.
So using the group model, I think it's a great way to start, because throughout this week, I think it's something you're being exposed to. The exercise that I would actually guide you to do is thinking about the group model and where you stand through all that. So the first step I would say is like gather everything you have on hand and write your title. For me, I wrote art, how I'm using art and how it could actually affect throughout the GROW model.
Can you explain just the GROW model for those who don't remember the words, the GROW, what it stands for? Et en français, si possible, en anglais.
je ne sais pas en français, il va falloir que tu m'aides.
Aider.
OK. Donc, GROW model, c'est un acronyme. GROW stand the J for goal, R for reality, O for options, and W for will. So, ma volonté et les actions que je souhaite faire.
Et en français, c'est le BROP. Le BROP.
OK.
Alors, but, réalité, option, obstacle. Et P, c'est pour plan ou action ou vers quoi on s'en va. BROP.
Parfait. Merci. Donc, I think the GROW model is also like helping you to realize and to explore, definitely. It's a little bit of brainstorming on paper in that case anyway. So what I would like you to do is actually draw yourself. Start with you, where you stand exactly throughout that. And you realize that where you draw yourself sometimes will help you also where you situate yourself. For me, my instinct was actually, I'll put myself in the middle. So I'm not going to draw anything realistic here, but I'm going to draw myself. I always have a messy bun and my scarf, and I'm smiling. So that's me in the middle. That's easy. I don't need to be exactly elaborate about it. And what I would do then, it's like every phase of the growth. So the 4 phases, so the goal, the reality, the option, and the will, I'll do a space for it and I'll link it to me. So
I invite people to do it as you speak as well. If you have a piece of paper, si vous avez un papier à la maison devant vous, allez-y, faites un peu comme Julie. Do as Julie's saying to do on your piece of paper.
donc, j'aimerais ça, tu sais, commencer avec... Oups, ce crayon-là ne fonctionne pas. J'aimerais ça commencer définitivement avec mon but parce que je crois que c'est là que ça commence, définitivement. Donc, mon but, c'est quoi mon but aujourd'hui? Fait qu'un but pour moi, c'est vraiment un target. Fait que je me dessine une petite flèche, c'est comme ça que je le sens. Je le sens comme si c'était des bulles, puis c'est une réflexion. Fait que instinctivement, j'ai fait une flèche qui tourne parce que ça tourne dans ma tête, right?
So that's the goal,
Yeah.
the first step, which is the goal.
And then
you draw an image.
Yeah, and I would draw it in an image, and it's not a bad thing to use words sometimes too, because one word could be enough just to explain everything to yourself, because you're doing those exercises for yourself if you're not asking someone else to do it in the context of coaching. But then I would add some words. So and I would invite you to play with also your writing. Like sometimes we feel that we write like always in the same way, but the way you write is also expressing how you feel about it. If I'm putting something that is scriptive or curly, it's fluid, it's more restrictive. So that could explain something as well. So the use of your handwriting, it could be helpful. So if you don't want to draw, use your handwriting. So my goal would be coaching. This is something I want to do eventually, let's say. And the reality, what is my reality facing that? So my reality for me, when I think reality, I don't know why I'm thinking the reality show on TV. I don't know if you see well. So I just draw a little doodle of a TV. What is my reality facing that? So I'm not currently in that job. I'm doing accessibility, but maybe it's something that I can do throughout accessibility. So you would draw like, what is your goal? What is your reality? And you can add to it. We have more than one reality. C'est pas quelque chose où on s'arrête à une chose. Vous avez un but, mais on a plusieurs réalités, on a plusieurs options, on a plusieurs volontés. Donc, j'explorerais vraiment c'est quoi mes différentes réalités présentement. Le COVID, je suis restreint. Est-ce que c'est quelque chose que je peux affronter au travers de la réalité d'aujourd'hui? Donc,
Je
ça
serais,
peut être
je serais curieuse. Je vais demander aux participants, I'll ask participants, what would be the image if you had one word to summarize your reality right now? What would be that word? So please share with us what would be your word in that drawing around reality. Donc, quel serait votre mot? Écrivez-le. Frustrated. Thank you, Amanda. And yes, being authentic. There's no judgment here. Disconnected. Un carré avec des check marks. Excellent. Calmness. So yes, write down how right now is your reality. Definitely. So, j'aime ça, avoir la participation des gens parce que ça nous donne aussi des idées de leur état d'âme. Super, Julie. Is there a reason why you started on the left side versus on the right? And how do we use the paper? You started in the center, but do you have explanations around right, left, up, down?
Pas du tout.
Non?
Puis ce qu'il faut vraiment lorsque vous commencez à explorer cette approche, c'est il n'y a pas de restriction, il n'y a pas de barrière, il n'y a pas de ligne directrice ou de processus. C'est vraiment how you feel it in that moment. So for me, instinctively, like my goal was there. It's on the top of my head, is there, right? Mais ça ne veut pas nécessairement dire que quelqu'un va le dessiner là. Puis peut-être que la personne serait dessinée en bas, puis qu'elle aurait tout mis en haut. Utilisez le papier à comment vous le sentez. Ça peut être à l'horizontale, ça peut être à la verticale. Ça peut être quelque chose de gros, ça peut être quelque chose de petit. Moi, j'ai tendance à dessiner dans des choses qui sont toujours trop grosses. Ma mère, elle la dessine dans des affaires qui sont grosses comme ça. Fait que, you need to pick the medium that you feel comfortable with.
Okay. So there's the goal, there's the reality on the right side, donc le but et la réalité, and there's 2 extra steps, and I think you were going to offer another tool.
Donc, l'option, pour moi, là, mes options, là, puis ça, c'est... Moi, je pense vraiment à un petit checklist. C'est quoi mes options? Qu'est-ce que je veux choisir à la fin de la journée, tu sais? Ça ne veut pas dire qu'elles sont nécessairement toutes bonnes, mais c'est là où je vais écrire mes options. Donc, ou dessiner mes options. Puis, des fois, c'est là où il faut prendre un moment un peu plus de connecter ce qu'on en est présentement. Parce que when you don't explore the different options and use it as, it's a brainstorming, right? So, explore. Don't be afraid to write what you could consider the stupidest thing ever. Write it down because sometimes it's just helping you to tear down those walls and those barriers and to be able to really connect with how you feel about that. And sometimes we do action and we take action on using bias conscious and we don't know about it. Bias belief, it's something that influences, and I think we see it when you're drawing.
I see a lot of the words uncertain, crossroads, patience, focus, renouveau aussi, terrified. And you've started with options, but in the grow model, there's also obstacles. And sometimes we are stuck somewhere, and it's nice to draw something that represents that being stuck or being in that obstacle state. I'd like to hear or read what people have as for words for obstacles that you have right now, and we'll move to options as well. So yes, please give us maybe your obstacles that you're facing right now. There's one word that you want to share with us. L'obstacle que vous avez, c'est souvent quelque chose qu'on met beaucoup d'emphase dessus, mais aussi dans la relation de coaching. Les obstacles sont quelque chose que les gens vont souvent partager, beaucoup. Ils vont partager tout ce qu'ils ne veulent plus, all the things that irritate them, frustrate them. So in the grow model, it's important to, yes, discuss the obstacles, but also move to the options because we don't want people to stay stuck. So on your drawing, I love the 2 O, obstacles and options. Donc, j'aime vraiment qu'on aborde les deux. And the coaching, Julie, just so to make a bit of links with the drawing. In coaching, the coach's help is really there to help you get unstuck. So focus maybe less on the obstacles and move to the options. So we see a lot of these words, uncertainty, difficult relationships, lack of communication, unplugged. So there's a lot of heaviness around these emotions, and it's important to acknowledge them. Donc, même si c'est des émotions ou des situations difficiles, c'est important de les souligner, de les démontrer, de les illustrer. And I'll let you move on now.
Mais je crois que c'est quelque chose aussi, lorsqu'on dessine, c'est quoi nos barrières ou qu'on les met sur papier, ça nous permet de les comprendre encore plus, mais aussi, automatiquement, lorsqu'on les voit, on dirait que ça nous libère. Donc, c'est là, c'est clair. Maintenant, est-ce qu'on peut en parler? Est-ce qu'on peut explorer des solutions puis nos options? Donc, je pense que ce qui est bien en le faisant, tu sais, souvent on dit, une fois qu'on en a parlé, tu sais, bon, c'est sur la table, talk about it, how you feel about it. And this is where that for me, like, and it's what I was saying to France earlier, is I actually did that with my daughter last night. She was struggling with her homework, and there's tons of barrier for her. Like, she doesn't have motivation, she doesn't like it. So, okay, how we can make it, what is your option? How we can make it happen? And this is the writing for her, like what was her barrier, and drawing it was for her right away, like kind of gone. Like she went over and she was, yeah, it's the way I feel. Now let's deal with it, right?
We learn so much from kids, Julie. It's so interesting you say that. So I'm inviting people to say, what are the options that you have now? I don't want to get stuck in just the negativity of the obstacles that you have. So yes, put a few options. And what I invite people to do when they're drawing, don't judge the options that you have. Just don't judge it. Don't say it won't work. Don't start being in that mindset. Just write it down. Just put it down there. Just draw something that represent that option, and don't judge it. Just leave it there. Let it just come out. Merci, Julie. So there's the top left corner, the goal, the right hand side, the reality, obstacles and options at the bottom left, and on the right side, there's that willingness.
So willingness, what I want to do, how I feel about that, and where's your motivation? And I think what's important when you're doing that phase is, again, and I don't think we say it enough, is apportez pas de jugement, mettez pas, censurez-vous pas. Le but de faire ces exercices-là, c'est d'être capable d'explorer les différentes options. Puis, des fois, il faut être honnête avec nous-mêmes, puis on n'a pas la motivation, mais des fois, on l'a aussi. Puis, comment on peut explorer ça? Puis, pour moi, the willingness, it's like, where's my heart? Where's my head? And where's the balance in between the both of them? And what will be action that I'll be able to take and I'll feel comfortable with, right? So knowing what is my end goal and what is my reality and what is the barrier versus option, how I want to deal with it, right? Donc, c'est là où je pense que c'est important d'explorer toutes vos options, mais vraiment, how you feel about it. Puis, qu'est-ce que vous êtes capable de faire? Puis, ne pas juger. Puis, l'exercice, c'est, je l'ai fait aujourd'hui. Tomorrow, I'll look at it with fresh eyes, and then I'll be able to see sometime like how I reflect it without even knowing. So I'll use color, I'll use the perspective. Maybe I put the reality, let's say like my reality for me, like the COVID is way far because I draw the little virus. Like maybe it's super far from me because I started to deal with it and it's not something that it's affecting as much for me. So it is part of my reality, but it's far from me now. So this is where, when you're going back to your notes and your mindset, is you'll be able to say, okay, maybe, yes, it's my reality and I'm not erasing it, but it's gone. I don't want to deal with that anymore. And instead I'll make it better, and I'll make it something that, like, using the COVID, I'll do something that will create actually a different way of dealing with it. So there is advantage to it. It's a new reality, but I'll learn to deal with it. And this is my willingness. I want to deal with that differently. It's gone.
Yes,
So
there's something, Julie, about crossing things or not erasing, but scratching it. And that is satisfying, I find. And in the coaching relationship, a lot of times participants, when they start drawing their situation or their reality and what they don't want anymore, scratching, removing, putting big dark X's on it, is really releasing something positive. I see there are a few people as well in the chat who said asking great questions, donc poser des questions aussi qui donnent du pouvoir. Hein? Quand on fait le drawing, quand on dessine, quand on peinture, posez-vous la question. And Jen, you had a few good questions. Let me just put one. My magic question: if you had all the powers in the world, what would you do? So I really like these kinds of questions because with the drawing, it's releasing another mindset. Donc, quand vous posez des questions différentes aussi, le mindset est différent et l'image peut être très, très différente. Julie, we have 4 minutes left. And if you have questions for Julie or comments, please comment in there. Julie, any more last words or recommendations when you're doodling, drawing, painting?
I would say that start with like the smallest doodle or the smallest art project. Try to explore it and use it. It's actually what I figured is like using it in my daily work actually helped me a lot to be thinking outside of the box, but also connecting even more with people, because I'll take the time to understand where they stand and why they're coming from in that angle. So using art, it's just a way of communication, but it's also a way to connect with people and connect with your inner person. So don't be afraid. There's no one that is a real artist. We say that I'm an artist because I'm painting, but it's not necessarily that. I think being an artist, it's being able to think outside of the box and to be able to connect with people.
Thank you, Julie. And you see there's a few great comments of people. Il y a des gens qui disent outils très intéressants. That's great advice. Tellement différent, innovateur comme moyen. Oui, absolument. This is the approach we decided to do during the Coaching Summit, is offer you different tools that will align you with your heart, your emotions. Offer you also tools like coaching and have great coaches offering you their support, their listening skills, their great questions. And this week, it's not over. We have today more information on group coaching or peer coaching circle. There are 2 amazing facilitators who are offering a French session at 10:30 and a 1 o'clock session in English, same content, but in different languages. For Thursday, we have also performance management conversation, how to use coaching in there. We also have talent management workshops. And Friday, we have an amazing celebration where we will use a bit more mindfulness and the power of storytelling on Friday. So I invite all of you to first test this tool, the art, and all the great advice that Julie gave us. Donnez-vous la chance de faire votre image. Je voulais vous présenter ce qui a été un peu la représentation de mon premier morceau d'art qui était fait avec un fusil à colle. That's the summary of my year, being in the darkness, but bringing more pink and growing roots through pandemic and having links in there. So just wanted to share that. If you want to also share yours in the future, would love to see it. Come and comment as well on Padlet. Et Julie, je veux te remercier infiniment pour avoir pris le temps avec nous ce matin. Thank you for taking the time and sharing also that side of you that many of us don't know as a colleague. So share that artist in you.
Thank
Merci,
you very
Julie.
much. Thank you. It was a real pleasure. Merci à tous.
Excellent. Bonne journée tout le monde. Have a great day. And yes, be an artist.
Merci.